Welcome to Five or Flop, a podcast for the best and worst historical fiction has to offer. I'm your host, Grace.
And I'm Erin, and each week we'll be reading a different historical fiction book to see if they're a five or a flop.
Our theme for season 5 is family and friends, and it is the season finale.
Can you believe it? We have had so many family and friends interact with us that we have forced them to read books for us.
And they all had a great time, and we're honored to be here.
I would say most had a great time. I don't know if Santiago had a great time.
No, he had a great time recording, maybe not reading.
He had a great time making us Brazilian-Japanese crossover drinks.
Oh, that was a fantastic drink. And we have the recipe mostly on tape.
Exactly.
So thank goodness for that.
All right, well, I am extra excited for this episode because last week was your pick, and now we're at my pick.
So, what are we reading?
Well, actually, before I get there, there's a couple things I want to say about this book without spoiling what it is. So first off, I think it would be a fun fact, if you will. As we stated last week, we had each of us and our guests all give like 2 or 3 options. So all of my suggestions were repeat pod authors. So I had this one. I had Aruda Sepetty's book, which we didn't end up picking, but I will be rereading for my own pleasure. And Island of the Sea Women by Lisa C.
So that one made it onto the season anyway, by the grace of Kate Weiss.
So thank you, Kate Weiss, for fulfilling my dream. But the other thing I wanted to say about this book was this was actually the book I was reading when we were toying with the idea of a podcast and had not picked our subject matter. And I said we should do historical fiction. So it's a very full circle moment, especially because my repeat author is the author of the first book we read. And this week we're reading The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell of Hamnet fame.
Perhaps last week you were thinking, how did the two of you decide when you both picked a book, which one of you got to be the season finale? It just had to be Maggie O'Farrell in the season finale.
Exactly. Especially as we are approaching her almost certain Oscar sweep with Hamnet, or at least Jessie Buckley's sweep with Hamnet. But yes, I think this would honestly be a very conclusive episode if we were ending the podcast here. We are not.
No.
But could you imagine how great that would be? How full circle?
Well, apparently, not to jump ahead to things that you've written before.
Okay.
There's perhaps a new book that we could save for our full circle moment when we do decide to end the pod.
Exactly. I think that has to be our final season. We have to save our repeat author season to be just our final season.
Unless we want to have more than one repeat author season.
That's a beautiful point because I've read all of their other books anyway. But anyways, we're reading The Marriage Portrait. We will get into that in a minute. But what has been up with you? Oh, you're going to date our episode recording with this one.
Well, I dated it last week with my trip to Savannah.
Okay, but that's closer. Now we're going to be 2 weeks out. Anyways, talk about it.
It was the Super Bowl yesterday.
So 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, it was the Super Bowl.
And how did you celebrate? Well, you didn't really have a stake in it. Weren't really rooting for either team.
Not really. I mean, I was rooting for the Pats, partially, of course, out of loyalty to you.
Thank you.
Partially out of loyalty to Drake May's wife, who I follow on Instagram now.
I need to follow her.
She's so cute.
She seems lovely.
However, mostly it was just because I struggle to remember the Seahawks exist.
Yeah.
I just don't think about them. They don't take up space in my head. So I was just ready for a good game. Did I get it? Not really.
No, it wasn't.
But, we were out at a bar, a little dive. I got to have a burger.
Okay.
I had a couple beers.
That's good.
I had 1 beer and 1 cider, which is improvement for me.
That is improvement. Was it your favorite Bud Light?
It was a Bud Light.
Okay, slay.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching at our friend's place, and it was primarily Pats fans, which is great for me. So I don't really follow football, but my family's from Boston. We're all Patriots fans. So obviously I'm a Patriots fan. But it was really funny because we were watching it with our friends Matt and Keelan, who are from born and raised in Boston area. And I think Matt thought I knew a lot more about football than I actually did. Because I would ask him some questions and he would go way too into detail. And I'm like, you lost me immediately. But it was really great because he kept saying things like our boys and our team. And I really felt a part of a community.
And you were like, these are our boys.
Even though I couldn't name anyone on the team now that all of the ones from the mid 2000s are gone.
No more Tom Brady, no more Gronk.
No more Gronk is truly the biggest loss. But anyways, Drake May, I have grown fond of you, even though you threw a horrible toss that got intercepted and there was no comeback from that.
But also, you got sacked 7 times, and that's not your fault.
No.
It's the rest of your team's fault.
Yeah, that too. Love the halftime show. I thought Bad Bunny was phenomenal. I thought it was
great job.
Beautiful message of unity. And they listed out Colombia's name, so that was really big for me in Santiago.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
In the meantime, we have another party to celebrate.
Yes, we got to figure out how we're going to mark the occasion of the season finale of the pod.
So ordinarily we go out to happy hour, but again, in the not spending money era of my life, we are not doing that. Our friends will know this now as of listening to this, but I will be sending out a poll for when they want to watch Gone with the Wind with us. And we're going to have a little potluck of Southern themed foods and drinks.
I really got to rack my brain for what I should bring. Because
I
know that I can impress.
I know what data scientist Ashley will bring. Deviled eggs.
Oh my God, yes.
I can't believe you hesitated.
I got her a shirt that says deviled eggs for her birthday.
Oh, I hope she wears it.
She better. I'll tell her to. Well, she doesn't have a big hoop skirt to wear, so.
Santiago and I, well, obviously Santiago will take care of it. See, the thing is for this one, I don't want anyone cheating out and be like, I'm going to bring mixed fruits. No. Has to be themed. Has to be themed.
It needs to either have butter or mayonnaise in it.
It needs to be something unhealthy. So Santiago's going to do the drinks. So he was talking about either a peach lemonade or like sweet tea or perhaps both.
Or what about like a mint julep or something?
Oh, that would be good too. Well, the reason we want peaches because we do have a 2-pound can of peaches in our home.
And it's Georgia themed.
And
so
it
should be peaches. It should be peaches.
But I'm like, we need to reach out to Hannah to see if she would also use these because we cannot open this can and then not have a plan for it.
How did you obtain this can of peaches?
When we went to Gatlinburg with Santiago's family, his mom because we were driving, his mom just sent us back with a bunch of random food items. And for some reason, there was a 2-pound can of peaches that someone brought that no one else wanted to bring home. And we're like, I guess.
Well, then we'll have peaches.
So I assume Hannah will do some peach themed dessert. I will do some sort of fried green tomatoes or like dip or something, pimento cheese. I'm brainstorming.
You gotta have pimento cheese. Next, I would say let's transition into what we've been reading. But we don't have much to say, you and I.
Considering I finished The Marriage Portrait 3 hours or so before recording this episode, no, I don't have much to say. Have you started planning anything for our mid-season break, what you'll be reading? Or not our mid-season, our season break.
Season break. I just really have to TBR tackle.
Okay.
I am not checking books out of the library. I am reading books I already own.
Good for you.
And that is physical and Kindle. Because I do keep track of how many it is. And right now, I think it is 89 books.
Wow.
Which is too many. And I'm not going to stop buying them because frankly, I don't spend that much money on books for how much I consume.
Because you do a lot of you tell me all the time, you're like, oh, this was free on Kindle.
Yeah, I get a lot of Kindle deals. I get a lot of stuff cheap from McKay. Mm-hmm. I buy a new full-priced book maybe 8 times a year or something like that, 8 to 10 times a year. So I'm actually comfortable with my rate of consumption. However, once I buy them, I do need to read them.
Yeah. Especially in high school, I was a big book hoarder and not reader. And not that I didn't read, I read all the time. It's just it wouldn't be the books I bought that I read.
Yeah.
I am also going to do some chipping away at my shelf. I do, as I spoke about a long time ago, I got a Book of the Month Club subscription. Didn't know it auto-renewed last summer. So turns out I'm halfway through my 2nd year of it. I do have a reminder to cancel it upon, completion. So I have some of those to chip away about. I also have several long books. Have you I don't think you've read this, but the Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois.
I haven't read it, but I think it was on our list for a possible long book season.
I think it was too. So I have that. So I was looking at it this morning. I'm like, maybe I should do that one. I also have Outlander. And I'm like, I think it could be a beautiful time in my life to read Outlander.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I might focus on some longer books.
Okay. That's nice. I think I'm going to do the opposite because today I have an extremely long list of small tasks I need to do. Mm-hmm. And if I achieve them all, I'm going to reward myself by taking a bath and reading A Dear Canada.
Okay.
So actually that's probably the immediate next is I'm going to read A Dear Canada.
I did just read another Dear America to add to my, I don't have enough of an update to give a status check-in on how my reading all of them are going.
Yeah. And also this episode is already going to have a ranking list in it. We don't have time for another.
Another unrelated one that no one really cares about. Dreams in the Golden Country.
I love that one.
I liked that one a lot. That one was pretty high on my list.
Okay. Wonderful. let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about the marriage portrait.
Yes, let's talk about the marriage portrait. Let's jump in with the synopsis. And I was so confident writing the script in my pronunciation of Italian names that I didn't look up anything. However, now looking back at it, I don't know how my pronunciations are going to be. So it's fine. Florence, the 1550s. Around the time viticulture is set, might I just add?
Really?
Yeah, I believe it's 15th or 16th century.
I'm surprised by that.
That could be wrong. I will fact check that. I think viticulture is set around... I don't know. You might have to disregard that.
I just thought it was modern day.
Oh, it's definitely not modern day. 100% not modern day.
Okay, well, you're the expert.
Why would I have to crush the grapes with my feet in modern day? Duh.
Because they have respect for the traditions in the old way.
It's 100% not modern day.
Okay.
Florence in the 1550s. Lucrezia, third daughter of the Grand Duke, is comfortable with her obscure place in the palazzo, free to wander its treasures, observe its clandestine workings, and devote herself to her own artistic pursuits. See, that's like me being unemployed. But when her older sister dies on the eve of her wedding to the ruler of Ferrara, Modena, and Reggio, Lucrezia is thrust unwittingly into the limelight. The Duke is quick to request her hand in marriage, and her father is just as quick to accept on her behalf. Having barely left girlhood behind, Lucrezia must now enter an unfamiliar court whose customs are opaque and where her arrival is not universally welcomed. Perhaps most mystifying of all is her new husband himself, Alfonso. Is he the playful sophisticate he appeared to be before their wedding, the aesthete happiest in the company of artists and musicians, or the ruthless politician before whom even his formidable sister seemed to tremble? As Lucrezia sits in constricting finery for a painting intended to preserve her image for centuries to come, one thing becomes worryingly clear. In the court's eyes, she has one duty: to provide the heir who will shore up the future of the Ferranese dynasty. Until then, for all of her rank and nobility, the new duchess's future hangs entirely in the balance. May I just say, I do not like that synopsis.
It's too long.
It's too long, and I do not think it's a good one.
But you get the gist.
But you know who I do like? Maggie O'Farrell. She is the author of inspiration for the soon-to-be, if not already, Oscar-winning film. I do not know when the Oscars are.
I think not by the time this episode comes out.
So, soon-to-be, Oscar-winning film, Hamnet. So go and listen to our Hamnet episode, which is episode 1, for more details about Maggie O'Farrell. I do want to add, she does have a new book coming out in 2026.
Woo!
It's called Land, and it's about the aftermath of the Great Famine and the potato famine in Ireland.
So it was designed for you.
So really, she wrote that for me, and I can't wait. As we found out just before recording this pod, all of her more recent books have been, and by more recent, I mean her Hamnet, The Marriage Portrait, and Land, which hopefully will become a pod book one day, are all historical fiction, so she does seem to be pivoting in that direction.
Very Kristen Hanna.
Very Kristen Hanna. I have read some of her contemporary works and do like those more than Kristen Hanna's, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would encourage you to go and check out our Hamnet app. I mean, I encourage everyone to listen to that episode, no matter what. But I know you've read Hamnet. Have you read anything else by Maggie since we've recorded Hamnet?
Nope, just Marriage Portrait.
All right, well, let's get into our disclaimer. Our judgments come based on the book and characters within the book rather than any real historical figures they may have been based on, which is definitely the case here. And also, spoilers ahead, this did come out, I think, 2022. So if it's one you're looking to read, I would maybe pause here and return once you've read it.
Yes, I think that is a good recommendation.
All right, spoilers out of the way. I loved it. I loved it when I first read it, and I love it now still. Hamnet, I'm so fond of you also, but I like this one a little more than I like Hamnet.
Because for all of our discussion of Hamnet, we love it because it's iconic to the pod.
Yeah.
But we actually do think that the book itself is not perfect.
No, and
if you recall when you listen to the episode.
Exactly. And also, it is very sad.
Yes.
So it is, that's not one I could fondly reread over and over again, you know?
No, it's quite sad.
All right. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the organizational structure.
Okay.
It's very similar to Atmosphere in the way that it cuts back and forth. And I really like that. And I think it worked really well, especially because I thought the present day sections had a lot more urgency. Mm-hmm. So it helped to make the book feel like we were progressing. So in the past, quote unquote, it's Lucrezia's upbringing and her marriage, and it brings you through to the present day. Mm-hmm. And in the present day, she's away with her husband at this hunting lodge, and she realizes that he's going to kill her.
Yeah, she is like very sick. Like she's realizing that he tried to poison her.
Yes.
I completely agree. I did not even think to compare this to Atmosphere in my head, but you're definitely correct. It was a similar structure. The more recent sections were also much shorter to keep that urgency, which I thought worked really well compared to some of the longer chapters.
And we've talked about that before, authors playing with page count in that way. Eleanor Catton did it in The Luminaries, most recently Gentleman in Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
And we found that effective then, and I think it was definitely effective here.
Mm-hmm. So just kind of like quick overview of what happens throughout the book. So pretty much Lucrezia finds out she's going to marry Alfonso after her sister died, because he's just like, he needs to get married right away to secure an heir because he doesn't have any children. And his siblings are starting to get married and have kids and are becoming a threat to his claim. So then Lucrezia is put up to marry him instead. But she is very young. So her and her nurse, and she really doesn't realize what's happening. So pretty much her nurse, Sophia, works to pretend like she hasn't gotten her period to at least keep her a child a little bit longer. For me, that part was like heartbreaking. I love Sophia.
Gosh.
I think what a great character.
And for me, before that, you don't necessarily see the love that Sophia has for her,
Mm-hmm.
but this is when you feel it.
Yes,
when she
absolutely.
does this for her and lies that, oh, she hasn't gotten her period yet, so you can't put her in this marriage.
Absolutely. But eventually, the truth does come out. So Lucrezia goes with Alfonso, who is the Duke, and they get married. And it very quickly becomes apparent that he is a very, very cruel person. Like, she finds out he beats his sisters, and she's like, that can't be true. And then watches as he has, his right-hand man beat a child for, tripping and dropping some of their luggage. So she's quickly learning how controlling and abusive he is. And the point that I really remember from reading this the first time is that one of his sisters is, sneaking around with some guard in the military or something like that, right? And Alfonso finds out and has his sister watch as the man is strangled to death.
Intense.
Yes, very intense. So it's quickly becoming apparent that he is just very cruel. Also quickly becoming apparent and is hinted at by his right-hand man being like, isn't it interesting that a man of his status doesn't have any bastard children? So he is not able to conceive a child.
When that was dropped in, that was a panic moment for me because I was like, oh no.
I got so nervous.
There's no way for you to win, girl.
It's very Henry VIII, her inability to get pregnant is blamed on her. So eventually that is why he tries to have her. And also as this is going on, she's sitting for her marriage portrait, which is a portrait of her being painted. And at the very end of the book, right before, his final attempt to kill her, she runs away with one of the painter's assistants. Jacopo, I believe is his name. I don't know if that's how you say it at all.
Jacopo.
Exactly. He's not really super relevant. But one of her maids had been sleeping with her in her bed to stay warm, and they look a lot alike. So they kill the maid instead.
Let's talk about the ending, because I did not understand it at first.
When I first read the book, I had to look it up.
Yeah. So it has this section about her running outside to meet Jacopo to be free. And then it has a section about her, and it doesn't use names. None of this uses names. Lying, face down in her bed, smothered with a pillow.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was like, okay, so the part about her escaping is her dream. And then what actually happened is that she was smothered with a pillow. Because the actual Lucrezia in real life did die. We don't know for a fact that she was murdered, but she was probably murdered.
It was highly suspect.
Okay. And that's not me dipping my toe into your historical accuracy
that's stated
pool.
at the very,
that's opening knowledge information. But then I realized, I was like, wait a minute, they don't tell us at the end what happened to the maid. And then there's more stuff going on about what she does when she's escaped. So I'm like, wait a minute. So then I Google and I'm like, did they kill the maid instead? Google told me yes.
Yes. And what is kind of the giveaway there upon my second read of the book is that as they're suffocating her, they're like, wow, she's been so sick and yet she's fighting back with so much strength. So
because she wasn't sick. Because it was the maid.
Because it was the maid who, they had said throughout the book, they're like, oh, we have the same hair color. And then Lucrezia has to chop her hair off so it's the same length. So it's kind of it's hinted at kind of throughout that some sort of swap may happen, but you were not going to pick that up your first time reading it.
No. And then I wonder, though, you raise a great point here, which is when Lucrezia ran away, did she know that that would happen?
Yeah, that is my question. And I would have to imagine no. Just in a state of self-preservation, because she thought she was going to be poisoned, like she wasn't eating anything.
Yeah.
I think just in a state of self-preservation, she wasn't even thinking about it, because she is not like a malicious character by any means.
No. And like it would go against type for her to be willing to substitute someone in for her.
Yes.
Especially like she called Amelia her milk sister because they both nursed from the same woman.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't reflect well on her to have this, you know. So I think I would have liked a little bit more tying up of that loose end.
That's fair.
So it doesn't feel like it's being put on her so much. But the ending in and of itself, that's not the thing that I thought of first, because it was written in such a dreamlike way, like I said, not using names, that it makes you unsure at first if what you're reading is what you're reading. You have to think on it for a minute.
Very reminiscent to me of the part in Hamnet when we still think Judith is going to die, but Hamnet is becoming sick.
Yes, it's very comparable to that in the language.
And that is what I really love Maggie's writing. We're on a first name basis. This is Maggie to me. I really love her writing style, particularly in her historical fiction. It's less of kind of like this luxurious, dreamlike type of feel in her contemporary, in my opinion. But I find it's very weird to say this word, given the subject matter of these two books we're talking about. It's very comforting to me, her writing style. It's like, I don't really think people write like this nowadays.
A lot of them don't.
So, and I like that. It's almost like a nostalgic type of writing style. Like I'm reading a book that's much older than it actually is.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that a lot in her vocabulary choice.
Yes.
Like it's not, I wouldn't call it purple because that is an insult, but florid language.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Like words that you dwell on for the sake of the words.
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. I love the characters in this book. I think what's a minor part in the book, but something that's really poignant to me, is her relationship with her different family members.
Yes.
Particularly, there's this one scene where she gets a letter out to her mother and she's like, I don't feel safe here. Like, I think something is going to happen to me. All of this stuff with his sister just happened. And her mother writes back and is like, oh, you're just being silly. Like, it's fine. We learned a new card game. We've been playing it all week. And just the absence of anyone in her family, except for Sophia and Amelia, who is the servant, her milk sister, caring about her is just, like, astounding.
She was always, like, the odd one out in her family that they would, like, make fun of and tease and forget about.
Yes.
Like, when the older sister, Maria, dies, and they're like, well, the Duke would still like to make a marriage within your family. At first, they're like, who?
Like, yeah, they're like, our other daughter's already engaged.
Yeah, they're like, there isn't anyone else. And they're like, well, what about your daughter that you don't like that much?
Yeah, no, it's very sad that this is just like the way her life is going. And she has no choice in it. Talking a little bit about the marriage portrait itself is something I will talk about in the historical accuracy as to why it's so important to this novel.
Great.
Because it's kind of like, why would this really be the title piece of the book, because it plays a minor role, I would say. But I did like those sections where she's like sitting and posing, and you can see how the Duke is just kind of more and more aggressive towards her, like telling her to pose certain ways and she has to dress like this. Very counter to how she actually is. So I thought those scenes did a nice job of painting that dichotomy there.
I agree.
Painting, haha.
Haha.
I'm also just mentioning this because A, I have a comment to make about it, but B, it's also in the historical accuracy section. There is a point at the beginning of the book where she's a child. They go down into her father's menagerie beneath the palace.
I thought it was the best written part of the whole thing.
Yes. It kind of reminded, maybe in my head, I was just thinking about lions. It reminded me a little bit of the Poisonwood Bible scene where Ada is being stalked by the lion.
Yes.
Kind of similar, like eerie quality. And she goes and the tiger lets her pet the tiger. But also,
because the tiger recognizes that they are kindred spirits.
Exactly. But also in my head, this was so much like the Water for Elephants part where the lion had no teeth. And they were like trying, like messing around with the lion. And then the song in the musical, that was just the lion had no teeth. And they sang that like 50 times.
Yeah. Oh man.
So I did have a little giggle there, but I agree. I think that was a very well written part.
Yeah. I think that's the part that it was what is literally happening is not anything crazily significant. But the way that Maggie O'Farrell writes it is really illustrative about her character. And you're in her head, so that's the most important thing for you to establish in this book. And I think the tiger scene does it very well.
Something I also thought was an interesting choice in this book was Alfonso. He is very cruel and violent, but not super outright to Lucrezia cruel and violent. Like, he is harsh and mean to her, but you see him being so cruel to his sisters and to the people in his court, and never really to her, and yet he still believes he has succeeded in killing her and tries to kill her.
Yeah. It's very interesting because we're very aware that this type of man exists that can turn on and off the charm so easily.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I think, one of the things that makes it truly frightening.
Yeah.
Because he's not just a cartoon. Like, when you first meet him prior to their wedding,
you're
great.
Like,
oh, like, this won't be so bad. Except you know already, because in the future, she's like, he's going to kill me.
And so it makes a really interesting, almost like an atmosphere, how kind of the whole time you don't know if they're still a couple in those future scenes. It's like you don't know what got them to this point.
Yeah. And the other most poignant moment of the book for me is they're at dinner. She's realized he's going to kill me. And then he leans over to give her a kiss. And she thinks, oh, well, he just gave me a kiss, so he loves me. So he's not going to kill me. And that's so heartbreaking because it's just like, you just don't know how love works because you are a child and no one has ever loved you.
I know, it's heartbreaking.
And you as the reader are like, no, like, don't eat anything.
Yeah, it's really hard, but I don't know. I love this book. Those were all my biggest points.
Yeah. Well, I'll say, I feel like I had kind of a similar experience to this that you did reading The Red Tent. I think for me, I had the same issue with Hamnet, but kind of the opposite. I don't love how Maggie O'Farrell paces her books.
Okay, fair enough.
It's not that I don't know where it was going, because obviously in this one, we've like split the timeline.
Yeah.
And in Hamnet, I read the back of the book, so I knew Hamnet was going to die, unlike some people.
Unlike some of us.
But I was so gripped by it in the beginning. I was like, right away, I was like, wow, this is really good. And it kind of petered out.
Okay.
For me, my enjoyment of it. And then it ramped back up towards the end. But I felt like I had a lull in the middle where obviously I knew where we were going, but I didn't have a clear connection of why what I'm reading right now is going to get us where we're going.
I think that's a fair point. I think probably especially with some of the like marriage portrait scenes, which once you have the historical tie-in, if you didn't read the author's note in the back, I figure you did, but I will provide for
I normally do. I only kind of skimmed this one because I knew that you were going to tell me stuff from it.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Because Maggie O'Farrell episodes are a cheat sheet where she puts all of her notes in the back.
Yeah. So I feel like it's the same thing as The Red Tent. This is such a character-driven book. You just kind of click with it right away or you don't. Because it's not like a plot is going to start really grabbing you.
No, I completely agree. And I think that's completely fair. This is also not a particularly long book. It's like 300-something pages. It is a dense book.
Yes. You can't whip through it in an afternoon. I mean, you could, but you have to try really hard.
Yeah, it's a dense one. So I think that probably adds some of it as well.
All right. Should we move on to historical accuracy?
Let's do it. Like I said, a lot of it is just pulled from the author's note at the end. So thank you for that, Maggie O'Farrell. I believe it was like this in Hamnet as well. So
great.
Love that. And I hope her next book is like that also. So Lucrezia de Medici was real. She died at 16, supposedly from fever, but people speculated it was due to her husband and because she had not produced an heir. Not really a whole lot is known about her life, so there were some liberties taken. I don't think there's any record about her being interested in art, anything like that. Her dowry was around 50 million euros in today's money, though.
That's insane.
Kind of crazy. Alfonso II was also real. He was the fifth and last Duke of Ferrara. He married 3 times and had no children, legitimate or otherwise. I'm going to actually flash back to something we didn't talk about. There's one point where he's looking at her portrait in the book and he goes, my first duchess.
No, I highlighted that too. And that was crazy. I was like, why would you say that out loud?
She was like, no, I mean my beautiful duchess. And she was like, oh, obviously.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Very much the other Boleyn girl.
Oh my God, yeah.
But after his death, because he had no heirs, Ferrara was incorporated into the Papal States. So, kind of interesting.
Delightful.
Taking over the Pope.
Well, I was going to say, what do you mean last Duke of Ferrara? But you told me. So
exactly.
Thank you.
I was shocked when I read that too. I was like, I was gassed. He was a big patron of the arts. I didn't spend a lot of time looking into him, so I don't know the degree of his cruelty. However, since it was speculated he did kill his wife.
Pretty cruel.
I would assume pretty cruel. Actually, I have more to add. I just didn't put it in this subsection. So I do know a bit more. He's a big patron of the arts, so the marriage portrait makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
He was also the basis for the poem My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. Which
you get a quote of at the beginning of the book.
Yes. And this is the story of a duke who has a portrait of his dead wife that he would only show to people to like tell the story of his duchess that had died. Mm-hmm. So that's where the marriage portrait ties in. Okay. So there's no proof that there was actually, a portrait of Lucrezia, but because of this poem being based on Alfonso, that's why the portrait played such a big role. And even in the book, it was in that kind of dreamlike ending. It was said it was hung in his chambers and he would only draw back the curtain, like if he wanted to show you the portrait.
That's very interesting.
So I thought that was really interesting. Tying this back, he was cruel because he did have the commander actually killed in real life, who was
the one that was sleeping with his sister.
Yes, Ooh. That was some of the minor changes Maggie notes. Specifically, the date of that was changed to align with the timeline of the book.
Yeah, and I don't care about that.
Things like that. Yep, but that did happen. So I amend my statement. He was cruel for sure. Florence did have a lot of menageries of lions, hence the Florentine lions as kind of a symbol for the city.
Okay.
And in the Palazzo of Lucrezia's family, there was a collection of exotic animals in just kind of their basement. Supposedly, this was also something omitted from the book. They moved palaces like across the river at some point in her childhood. Supposedly was due to the smell of the menagerie. So thought that was interesting. What is also interesting and also noted in the author's note, her sister Isabella and her cousin also met suspicious deaths. Her sister specifically, it was speculated that she was suffocated by her husband, as Lucrezia was in the book, or as Emilia was in the book.
So I guess that makes sense that this would be like more of a common practice in Italy where you can't divorce your wife.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, similar with Henry VIII, right?
Yeah.
Around similar time periods. So very interesting. And Isabella had produced children. She had both a daughter and a son who survived her, but she was like 33. So she was also young.
Okay. Ow.
So could be they just, her husband wanted more heirs. But it was also said that potentially one of their brothers, because she had like such strong attachments to like Florence and she was like very widely regarded, her brother was jealous of her influence and may have like convinced her husband to partner on that. But basically she was like kneeling by a river and then supposedly her husband had found her fallen over dead. So very suspicious.
Yeah, that sounds very suspicious.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's an actual marriage portrait in existence. And Maggie O'Farrell noted that the one portrait of Lucrezia is the one that was mentioned of being in her family's home, kind of hidden in the dark shadows. So,
okay.
Yeah. So very interesting. I would say a lot of this is very historically accurate, speculating on everything, of course, but very historically accurate and consistent with the rumors of the time.
I love that for our last two books, I picked a book called The Red Tent where there was no red tent, and you picked a book called The Marriage Portrait and there was no marriage portrait.
No, I know. I love that. I do think it ties in like with him with the poem being about Alfonso. I am in defense of the ad of the marriage portrait.
Yeah, totally works for me. No problem.
Now, was there a real Japoco?
I wish.
Remains to be seen. We don't know. I think we should head to our star calculator.
Let's. And I think that you should go first, so I'll tell us our categories.
Fabulous.
Our categories are historical accuracy, originality, characters, prose, and vibes.
Historical accuracy, I'm going to give it a 5. I feel like Maggie O'Farrell was really consistent with the history on this one. Again, there might not have been an actual marriage portrait, but because of the ties to the poem and the Duke in the poem who was based on Alfonso showing the portrait, that works for me. Mm-hmm. Originality, I'm going to go 4. I think this was original. I do think I've seen books like this, and it's not an unexplored theme for sure. Characters, I loved the characters. I'm going 5. Prose, I love Maggie O'Farrell's prose. I'm going to go 5. And vibes, I would go 5 as well. Like, I just love this. That's a 4.8. I gave it a 5 on Storygraph, my first and second times reading it. This is just a solid 5 for me. I love this book.
Okay. So for me, historical accuracy, I do think it's good, but I'm going to give it my grace 4. I just think there's a lot of little tweaks here, none of which I care about that much, but yeah, I feel like cumulatively they add up. Originality, I want to go higher, but I think I do have to give it a 3 because this is not exactly a new concept.
Yeah.
Although it matters it matters what you do with it, not just the concept itself, but that's to me, that's what originality is for. Characters, I'm going to go 4 for characters. I actually think they were really well developed and well rounded. There were a lot of characters where you started not really seeing a lot from them, and then as the book progresses, you got more and more depth, which I think is really smart writing and good craft.
With Amelia in particular.
That's true of Amelia. It's true of Sophia. I think it's true of Jacopo. I like that element of it, and I think Maggie O'Farrell did a really good job with it. Prose, I'm also going to go 4. I think that her prose is strong, but it drags a little for me at times. And then vibes for me are a 3. I liked reading this book, but it did drag for me somewhat in the middle. So that's a 3.6, and I gave this a 3.75 on Storygraph. So for me, this is a nice fine.
And that is exactly the scores that I had given the Red 10.
We're good.
So kind of incredible. All right. We are at our season finale. So now it's probably no one's favorite part, but our favorite part, when we get to do a full ranking.
It is extremely fun. I would recommend doing the reading challenges so you all can have a full ranking. It
is a lot of fun. And honestly, like, having the context of the full season as I was putting this together, I went back and I amended some of my scores on Storygraph.
I add mine as I go to my list. So I just I don't do it based on the calculator like I think you do.
I have done that in the past, but then I didn't want to do that this time.
Okay.
For no reason at all.
I just vibe it out. So I gave it a glance over and I was like, yep, still good.
I intended to do it based on, like, as I went, but I didn't do that. So how should we break it up? I know sometimes we've done it differently, like groups like 3 at a time, 5 at a time, or by like our flops, our fines, our fives.
Do we want to say how many of each we have first?
Yes, and I do have my fines broken into subcategories of fine leaning, whatever.
Yeah, I don't have any fine leaning flops.
Okay.
So I have 4 categories.
Okay.
So I have 6 flops.
Cool.
So that's 1/3 of our season was flop. And then I have 7 fines, 2 fine leaning 5, and 3 fives.
I was more generous with the 5s for sure. Okay, we're probably pretty close, but there are going to be some glaring differences in our list. I had 1, 2, 3, 4 flops, 2 fine leaning flops, so that gets me to the same 6. 3 solid fines, 4 fine leaning 5s, which I don't know if that's what I said on the episode, but that's what I feel today.
It's what I'm saying now.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5s.
Okay, so since our categories are so different, and this 18 books is a multiple of 3, I say we should go back to doing 3 at a time.
Okay.
Do you want to start?
Bottom up. The worst, I can't say what, Erin's worst book of the season, because I said on the episode that I know a lot of people will like it, and I know it's not for me. The Last Kingdom.
Sorry, Ashley.
Just not for me. I'm not a fantasy person. This wasn't even really fantasy, but it's in the vein of fantasy. Not for me. At 1.5. Tied with 1.5, but maybe it's because we were given cocktails during the episode. Bresno Maru.
Also, I do not have rankings, like, numbers on mine.
That's fine. I just did it because I pulled it from Storygraph this morning.
Great.
Bresno Maru, didn't like it. Wasn't good. Really boring reading it. Santiago, this was not the book to get you into reading, so I'm sorry, but we have found the click, so that's okay. And in 16th place, The Paper Daughters of Chinatown, still a flop. I gave it a 2.25. I think I enjoyed learning a bit about the story, but I just didn't think execution was good at all.
So we have 2 of the same ones.
Okay.
So for me, my worst book of the season, as you know, is The Paper Daughters of Chinatown.
Yes.
I was just so let down by it because it could have been good. Then in 17th place, just like you, Brazil Maru. I think that one got points for originality. One of our categories.
Yeah, that one did get originality points.
And then 16, I hate to say it, because I consider your mother my friend, The Frozen River.
Oh, no.
I did not enjoy The Frozen River, I hate to say, but it was just so boring. It was boring to me because of all of the research that the author did a great job doing, and she didn't want to kill her darlings.
Yeah, that's fair. Moving up, you will see that very shortly on my list. Then I had Death Comes as the End. I had 2.75. That's a flop for sure. Sorry, Agatha Christie. Really wish I would have liked this one. But just, the history was maybe some of the worst we've read in a historical fiction book.
I would call it the worst.
Yeah. Then
Even Distant Waves was better because at least it was funny.
At least it was funny. Then we're moving into fine leaning flops for me. So I had The Revolutionists, which I gave a 3. Again, I like the concept. Didn't like the execution of it. It was too #girlboss for me, personally.
Yes.
Then in 13th place, I had The Frozen River, which was a fine leaning flop for me. I agree with what you just said. Like, it was heavy on the characters, heavy on the named characters all being based on real.
I figured that our differences would come later and that our flops would kind of be the same, and they are. So for me, 15th, The Last Kingdom. I liked it better than you, but it's still just not what I jive with.
Mm-hmm.
Then 14, Death Comes as the End. This really is a flop in terms of Agatha Christie. No wonder no one has wanted to adapt it. And then 13, The Revolutionists. I have the same problems with it that you do, but it was my highest placing flop.
And it was my lowest fine leaning flop, so we're still pretty the same.
There you go.
Here in these next 3, which are my solid finds, this is when we deviate.
Oh, extremely.
12th was Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. That was a 3. These were all 3.75s for me.
Uh-huh.
Fine. Nothing else to say. Then was The Red Tent. We recorded that immediately before recording this, so I'm not going to rehash that. That was fine as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 10th place, Persian Pickle. I rated that above Red Tent because I had a little more fun with it.
Okay, next, I don't have any fine leaning flops. So these are all fine to me, which means I think it's like a good solid book, but it's not my favorite thing. 12, The Marriage Portrait.
Incredible.
We've just discussed it. You know what I think. 11, Silence. I really enjoyed reading this book, but I think I enjoyed thinking about its themes almost more than reading it. Like, I liked reading it, but I liked what it represented more. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's how I feel about Silence. And then 10, The Island of Sea Women. I think this is a great book, and I really liked learning about the Hanyo. However, it was hard for me because I just don't feel like, to me, it didn't compare to Snowflower.
That's fair. Next up, I have my fine leaning 5s, also in a nice 3, and these all got 4. So in 9th place was A Gentleman in Moscow. I really liked this one. I thought it was super well done. It was a little dense at points, which is why it's probably my lowest fine leaning 5. Then I had Circe in 8th place, which I really enjoyed as well. I really don't have much negative to say about my fine leaning 5s. And then in 7th place is The Dance Tree, which I forgot we read this season. I thought I read that independently, and then I saw it on the list, and I was like, oh, we did talk to Diana about that. It was
like episode 4.
That was a long time ago. Really great, and I really enjoyed that book.
So actually, we have some more, coming back to some more similarities, because for me, I have 9th is Circe, and 8th, The Gentleman in Moscow.
Okay, cool.
I think kind of for the same reasons, if you listen to those episodes, our opinions on those books, I think, were pretty aligned.
Yeah.
And for me, number 7, and I'm still in my fines, I'm not near my fine leaning 5s yet, is Atmosphere.
Oh.
I really liked it. I don't think there's anything that I would say about it that was particularly wrong. I just think that I liked some of our other books better.
This is going to be, I think, our most different season.
We got to go back and listen, even though I know we're not gonna.
Even though I wish I had a notes app for all of them on my phone. I don't think I do. Maybe I do. Anyways. 6th place, my last fine leaning 5 was Silence. I really liked it. I think it's part of the religion major in me as well. I thought it was really interesting, and we still have to watch that movie. Double feature that.
I forgot we have to watch that. Oh my goodness, we do.
But yes, I am very, such how we can bring back the drinks he made. But yes, I am very excited for that one, to see it, because I really enjoyed the book. Even though it's not something I would read otherwise. And I think that's why I scored it pretty high, because I love when the pod introduces me to something that I end up liking that I probably wouldn't have read otherwise.
It's the beauty of the pod.
Now moving into my 5s, even though I gave this a 4.75, The Poisonwood Bible. I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed the characters in it. I really enjoyed the messages in it, even though it took me a little bit to get into, which is why it's the lowest of my 5s. And then in 4th place, The Marriage Portrait. Woo! I loved it upon second reading. I loved it upon first reading, and you just heard all my thoughts about it, so not going to go into it there.
All right. I said earlier that I have 2 fine leaning 5s. I'm going to be generous and say that I have 3.
Okay.
So these 3 are my fine leaning 5s. Number 6 is The Dance Tree. This one was probably my biggest surprise of the season. Not that I didn't expect to like it, but I just had never heard of the book or its author before. So I was going in super blind. And I really, really liked this book. And it stuck with me for a little while. So that one I think was my favorite like discovery of the season.
Well done, Diana.
Yes, so good job. Then 5th, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society.
All right.
And I'll go ahead and say 4th because I have them for the same reasons, the Persian Pickle Club. We said on that episode that they are similar, and I do think that they are, but I just really love the themes of community coming together in hard times. Those books feel like a warm hug to me, I just love them both.
I think especially as like a state of society we're in right now, it's nice to read those kind of books.
Exactly. So those are my fine leaning 5s.
All right. Top 3 time?
Top 3 time.
Wait, let's go back and forth.
Well, also, we will have one the same.
We only have one overlap, and like maybe I wasn't paying enough attention because I'm still missing one. Oh, no, I know which one. I know which 3 you have now.
Yeah.
Process of Elimination took me a minute.
Yeah, because there's 18 books.
I know. But my 3rd place was Island of the Sea Women. So I love this book. I think what pulled this ahead of Marriage Portrait for me, because they were both rereads that I really enjoyed. Both of them were my recommendations as well. I reread this one in print format when I had done an audiobook before. So it's just a different experience for me, and I really liked it. Like, I think the characters are really strong. I like this one a bit better than Snowflower. I think just maybe the history is a little bit more interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. And more, I think, crucial to the plot of that book.
And no foot binding.
So,
which is big for Lisa C. So.
All right. So my 3rd place, my bronze medal, is The Red Tent. And I think it's super interesting that both you and I had the chance to pick a book for this season, and it didn't make either of our top 2.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. I just love this book. You all already heard about what I feel about it. I think it's got a little bit more that I can sink my teeth into than Guernsey or Pickle Club. That's why it's 3rd.
All right. My 2nd place, 5 stars, Gone with the Wind. This was the one I did not expect to like this season. So thank you to your mother for picking this and having us read this. I am really glad I read it. I think for me, it can't be number 1 because I struggled with the length of it. Like it took me just like having to sit down with it for a while to get into it. And I enjoyed the length. Like it's in the end, that's not a detriment for me at all. I'm happy to read a long book. It just kind of was a mental hurdle of like not looking like I was making progress as I was reading it. But yeah, I loved it. I can't wait to see the movie.
My 2nd is also Gone with the Wind.
I thought that was going to be your first.
I debated so long over what to put 2nd and what to put 1st.
I was also torn.
And I think it could flip in the future. I'll get into that more when I reveal my 1st, even though the canny listener will already know what it is. That's a book that I have loved for a long time. I'm happy to have revisited it now as an adult, and I think I will probably revisit it maybe 10 or 15 years down the line and see if my thoughts on it change then.
And you're going to revisit the movie very soon.
And I will revisit the movie very soon.
All right, my gold medal 1st place book was Atmosphere.
Woo!
So I love this one. Thank you, Kelly, for having us read this. Honestly, 2nd episode of the season. Should have just ended the season there, honestly. I loved it. I thought everything important to me in terms of like a book, i.e. pacing, characters, specifically pacing, worked so well. And it was an audiobook with Julia Whalen. So I loved it. That was the one as I was listening to it, I remember being like, my heart was pounding. Santiago came to talk to me about something when I was like putting on my makeup, listening to the final chapter, and I kicked him out of the room because I was so invested in it. I thought that was phenomenal.
I knew that at the time we read it, that you like loved it, and it was like a super early like front runner for you, and I wasn't sure if it would hold up over the course of the rest of the season, and clearly it did.
It did. This was like, it's like how Snowflower was our 2nd episode.
Knock it out of the park.
We'll have to see if there's any statistical accuracy to that across seasons, but
like when people say that Taylor Swift's track 5 is always good.
Exactly. Episode 2 is our track 5.
Exactly. But for me, it was Riley's pick, The Poisonwood Bible.
Okay.
Yes. So I really debated because I think both this and Gone with the Wind are firmly American classics.
Yes.
But they are both so different. One of them I already had a relationship with. One of them I just read for the first time. But I do think when it comes down to it, the craft in the Poisonwood Bible is just so masterful that I can't overlook it. Mm-hmm. That is just such a phenomenal book. And I also love that my favorite book for the season was picked by one of your friends, and your favorite book was picked by one of my friends.
And that we loved one of our mother's picks and hated the other ones. No.
I don't love that.
No, I don't love that. No, but I love that as well. And I think that's what is really cool about being exposed to, you know, recommendations from people that you don't always overlap with. I might not have had this book. Atmosphere, I feel like I probably would have had recommended to me regardless. But the Poisonwood Bible, you might not.
No, yeah. I have not heard people talking about it, even though apparently I couldn't get it from the library, so everyone is reading it, but just not people talking to me.
Me with Wuthering Heights because of the movie. This has been fun this season. I liked having recommendations.
Me too. It's a lot of work recording with people,
yes,
but it's so much fun.
It is.
Because you and I just talk to each other all the time.
Exactly. And I don't really think we are. I mean, maybe a bit of, we're an echo chamber in terms of other things, but with our book opinions, I don't think we always are.
I think we're happy to go toe to toe.
Yes. I think we can disagree on a book. And also I pulled up a list of our previous seasons, and no, episode 2 is not a lucky one. That was also Gwen and Art are not in love. So sorry.
Didn't you rate that one like really highly?
Again, it's when an audiobook charms me. I can be so swayed. Yeah, but I think I amended. It was another one I amended as I did my eventual ranking.
Okay.
But,
wow.
What a fun season.
Yeah, and with that, season 5 is over.
Round of applause. Thank you all for listening in. We will be back.
Yes.
With season 6, although, as you know, we are not going to tell you our season theme at this time. We also are not going to tell you our bonus episode themes at this time because we don't know what they are yet. However, there will be a Gone with the Wind movie review.
You know that we're going to watch Gone with the Wind. And also, 10 minutes ago, we said we were going to watch Silence. So we're going to watch that too.
Probably that as well. I will say there won't be one on the Guernsey movie, although we did watch it, but we watched it a long time ago.
Yeah. Sorry that I might have promised that to you at one point and you're not getting it.
We promised it during the episode.
You're not getting it.
The movie was bad. All right.
Yeah, it was fine.
Well, so we don't have books for next time. Keep an eye out for bonus episodes. We still have to figure out how our cadence for that. So stay tuned.
Within the next handful of weeks, you will have a bonus episode.
I would say within the next month, you'll have an episode.
Yes, exactly.
That's a fair promise we can make. And we can also promise you great content on our Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Maybe not our TikTok. At @5flop_pod.
The Storygraph reading challenges never go away. So even though we have completed the season 5 reading challenge, you can still go complete it.
I think it's also time to check in at what our final count was of participants.
Oh my gosh.
Did we crack 10?
I forgot that we do this. Our final number is 8.
Damn.
And I will say, that's our ceiling for, that's the highest we've gotten. 5, 4, and 2 all have 8. Season 3 only had 5 participants, which is fair because it is 40 books and they're children's books.
I'm honestly surprised that even had that many.
Well, 2 of them are you and me.
Incredible.
So really, it's 3 other people.
And
we know all of them.
If you have anything you would like to see in an upcoming season, this is the time to use our recommendation form or to shoot us an email at fiverfloppodcast@gmail.com.
And in the meantime,
until next season,
happy reading!